Welcome to the channel, guys. Let's talk about XRP. Now, everyone's discussing whether we'll see a denial of a trial. That's right, we're rhyming tonight as well. Whether the SEC is truly going to go through this, or ultimately are we going to see a settlement this week with XRP and the SEC, as well as some very interesting news around the XRP ledger. I'm going to break all that down for you in this video, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel, turn your notification bell on so you never miss a beat in this cryptocurrency market. And with that being said, let's get into exactly what's going on. So everybody knows that the SEC decided that they weren't going to appeal Grayscale, and then fundamentally their interlocutory appeal was denied. And then they dropped the individual law cases against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsen. That's why we saw the move on XRP last week. We actually saw a 7-8% move up from kind of that lower end of about 4.9 to about 50 cents. But what are the chances ultimately of the appeal of the SEC? Well, we know now that it is very slim. We already know they didn't go against Grayscale. And I think the reality here is that the SEC will be looking for a settlement. Now, they already said they're going to open discussions with both Brad and Chris and the XRP team to work on a medium. Bearing in mind, if they do decide to go ahead with this, bearing in mind they've lost their interlocutory appeal, they lost the original filing that the XRP was not deemed as a security, and then finally they dropped the individual cases, then they haven't got the biggest success rate in the world. Now, interestingly, this is all from Jeremy Hogan, who I was actually in a Twitter space with him listening to kind of how he talked about it. And from a legal standpoint, well, the SEC doesn't have a lot to go on. They're ultimately hedging everything now. I have heard the rumors before anyone says that people believe this could be a way of getting to the end case quicker, that this could be a way of getting right to the very end of this law case and lawsuit, and ultimately therefore bring everything to a head. But my view is that the fact that they want to do an agreement, they want to discuss how they move forward, is ultimately about saving face. Jeremy Hogan here is quoted by saying, "The facts have been set. Nothing new or surprising will be coming out, which means the court will be issuing a final judgment probably sometime next year." He did put a tweet out here, says, "For all intents and purposes, the Ripple versus SEC case is over. Yes, important hearings will be held in the middle month. Deciding on judgment of up to $770 million is, of course, important. But your time of hard ranging over this case is done." And I guess there, Jeremy taking a clear standpoint in what the SEC is all about and fundamentally where they can go from here. If they want to try and regulate this cryptocurrency environment that we know they do, they cannot decide, or they cannot risk losing face in this. They already have lost 3 separate times. And I think that's where it gets interesting. So what are people giving them a view? Well, we've got a 14% chance of winning, and that's based on statistics as equally from that regulatory authority winning an appeal of 14%. It's even worse when you talk about Bill Morgan giving only a 3% chance of the SEC winning this appeal. So everything right now looking bullish for XRP. It's just a matter of time before we kind of get the ultimate judging. But interestingly enough, what is also coming to the forefront is Ripple's XRPL. Now, I've been talking about this probably what feels like for the last couple of months, in particular why this will be important in the success of XRP. Now, we do know that there was a security risk when it comes to the Lightning Network, but ultimately right now, this is where XRPL could step in and be superior to the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Now, I remember this coming out, and everybody talked about scalability and how they could make the Bitcoin network quicker, and ultimately it hasn't really delivered on what a lot of people expected, and therefore equally it's opened up the gateway for many other people. Now, John Deaton coming out being really vocal in the fact that the XRPL ledger is a significantly higher level and more scalable solution than the Bitcoin Lightning Network. Could we truly see a shift of narrative from Bitcoin into XRP? Well, a lot of people believe so, given everything's going on, given the regulatory standpoint that we may have with XRP. Well, we might just get everything we want, particularly this security protocol that could be a risk when it comes to the Lightning Network. So with all of that chucked in the mixer, what do we get with the price of XRP? Well, again, we talked about this when it came out. Interestingly enough, just hovering around that 52 cents line. We need to break above 55. You can see we've tested 3 or 4 times into this big pool of liquidity right now, but being rejected. These couple of trend lines we put on here, one at about 52.32, a slightly higher one at 53.49. We've tested them a number of times. times, but being rejected. This is the key for XRP. It has to get through this block, has to get out of the top side, 55, come down, maybe bounce off a rejection, and then start to move to the upside again. Until we break through this, there is too much downside momentum to bring us down. Now, overall sentiment in the market, for example, if we were to get an ETF approval coming out of this weekend, then we could definitely see some positive rises. On the short term, we are slightly seeing a bullish momentum with 20 and 50-day EMA starting to move to the upside, particularly the short-term 20 crossing over that 100, so giving us a slightly more positive outlook. Equally, RSI is slightly oversold. Money flow, though, looking very good. 0.29 down on the day when you look at the technicals. But XRP, for me, is a real opportunity, and I would highly recommend you take a look at it. It could absolutely change the landscape of the cryptocurrency environment in a heartbeat. And let's see if that heartbeat becomes this week. As ever, thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date with everything XRP. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.